we've had our latest WWE star to AEW defection. It's Roderick Strong. I thought he was actually still with WWE. That was a genuine surprise.
It's a bit like the Malachi Black one, where someone was like, oh, he's got 90 days in his contract. Oh, no, wait, no, he hasn't.
But at least with Malachi Black, he was released, and then we were like, well, he's definitely going to AEW. He won't regret that. But in 90 days, not 30 days.
Yeah.
And he showed up in 30 days. The Roddy Strong one, he's been not around for so long, I just stopped thinking about him.
Well, I mean, what? Do you know what? Should we? Let's do the intro.
Yes, sorry. I'm Ollie Davis. I'm joined by Luco and DAD. Welcome to the AEW Dynamite Review Podcast. If you haven't already, please press the thumbs up button, give us a subscribe, leave a comment down below with your thoughts on Dynamite, and get in those OmegaChats to WrestleTalk.com/support. We'll read out every single one over $5 before the end of the show. But the best way to support us today, it's a big day for us here at the WrestleTalk studios, because we have launched a book. There it is on the screen now. It's WWE versus AEW, The New War. And it's a collection of magazine articles that we're really, really proud of, like the best magazine articles that we wrote and put out in the WrestleTalk magazine over that period from the launch of AEW to, I think it's just when, what is the end part? The end part. I think it's when NXT 2.0 happens. So it's like that first year and a bit of AEW. So from 2021, first half of 2022. That's it. But
the forward by yours truly.
I think it's a good forward.
I read it this morning.
Did you?
I did, yes.
What did you think?
Well, I thought it was excellent.
Did you read it in my voice?
Oh, you can't help but read it in your voice. But I really enjoyed it. I actually read it on the Amazon preview of it, because this is available through Amazon, and I read it through the preview on there, and I thought it was excellent.
Thanks very much. And the excellent content, trust me, that is the least best part of the book, because then you get into the actual good articles.
Well, then I saw
chapters.
Then I saw who the authors were. And I was like, oh right, he's just the celebrity endorsements here.
We're really proud of it. The offer at the moment is it's in paperback for £14.99, or on Kindle, the ebook version for £6.99. But there is a special early bird deal, £4.99 for the ebook. The link is in the video description below. Please do go out and support it, because we want to make more books, and we're really proud of this one. And it's our first one.
Hey,
go team!
Us. Go team!
This episode of AEW Dynamite.
So, may I now? So you said, I haven't even thought about Roderick Strong. Well, we do a little video series over on the WrestleTalk news channel called 3 Count.
Oh, I know that little hit TV show.
If you haven't seen it before, it's a show that Ollie and I do where we predict upcoming pay-per-views, or like at the start of the year, we predicted what's going to happen in 2023 for all of the AEW and WWE rosters. We recently did a video for Backlash, and in that video, Roderick Strong was one of the options on there.
Because it's kind of draft call-up time. There are a lot of NXT names there.
So we put in a lot of NXT names. And, I'll play the clip now. You won't be able to hear the audio, but...
Main roster debut?
Undisputed Elite reunion?
In AEW?
Yeah, well, they can't get Bobby Fish anymore. Where is the lie?
Where's the lie?
So you just put Bobby Fish in his place and pretend that... you put Roderick Strong there and pretend Bobby Fish never happened.
Give him a moustache.
He was always there. That's right. Once again, I was correct. Where I predicted correctly, Undisputed Elite reunion. 12 days ago, I predicted that on the 3 Count.
What did I predict?
Main roster call-up.
Damn it! Damn it! I just thought he was going to be one of those guys who was in WWE because Triple H liked him. He was going to build that whole new cruiserweight division around him in NXT before Triple H, was removed for
health reasons.
And for not beating AEW.
Well, there was that.
Bit of the two.
Yeah. A little from column A, a little from column B.
I just thought Triple H would want him and keep him there. and bring him up and build a little faction around him on the main roster.
So the Fightful Select report on this, because they, this did take a lot of people by surprise, and they write...
Even WWE, some people said that he was still on the WWE roster page.
He was. And
at the moment that Roderick Strong debuted.
While the show was on the air, he was still listed as an active member of the WWE roster. Sean writes here, Strong has been off TV for months, and WWE have been dead silent about his status with the company. The last we heard, there was discussion about pitching the idea of having him coach through the remainder of his deal, though we don't know if that pitch was ever made to him. Strong re-signed with WWE in 2021, and the company was set to make him the focal point of the revamped NXT Cruiserweight division, in which they had big plans to enhance. In 2002, Roderick Strong asked for his release, which we were told was internally rejected. However, those that we spoke to in WWE say that they believe the deal was to run it into next year, though that was hardly confirmed. Recently, 2K was told to exclude Roderick Strong from the game. WWE talent that we spoke to has not been able to give an update by WWE about his status or lack thereof with the company, and we've simply been told that he was not been at the Performance Center in quite some time. About the only update we heard from those close to him as of late was that he was doing well physically and cleared to wrestle. WWE talent, AEW talent we spoke to were pleasantly surprised as Strong is well liked by most in the industry.
Sorry I had to go away though. This place is still a building site, and we've had two builders try and walk into this room to check the aircon. He was like, I do it now. I was like, no,
we're on the air.
And then he said again, now? No. And later, in an hour, please.
When the first builder came in, I thought, I'll go into real Strong presenter mode here so he can really get the impression I'm on air at the moment.
I don't think I did that. I think if you go back and watch, my face goes... Sorry, so I did miss a bit of what you said there at the end, but I have read the report.
Yes.
Yeah, so a surprise for everybody.
It was literally a surprise for most people.
It's nice to get those surprises. Like, even the Malachi Black one, I don't put in this category because I educated guess he's going to turn up. Last time I remember being this blown away by a surprise was Sting, I think.
Yes, I think Malachi Black was the one for me. And I think only because, while I presumed he was so much sooner than I expected. Sting, we'd been theorizing for a little while. Although, granted, we've been theorizing it for we'd theorized it months ahead of time.
Yeah.
And then because it didn't happen when we thought it was going to happen, when Jericho started introducing a bat and everything, we're like, that's a sign that Sting's coming in.
Yeah.
And then just nothing happened for months. And then all of a sudden, oh no, now he's here, December. Turns out snow is his favorite weather and Sting is here. And it was like, oh, Sting's here. So yeah, Sting and Malachi, I suppose, are the ones that were wow, genuinely big surprises. Keith Lee, I suppose, in a way as well. There hadn't been huge reports of him going.
I guess so, but it's there's some names that they're kind of free agency and you just assume. But these ones where you forget about them, I think, are the more shocking ones. So how we actually debuted, though, we had Adam... I thought the way they debuted him was perfect. Adam Cole comes out, cuts the promo on Chris Jericho from last week, because... And then Jericho appears on the Tron. I thought Jericho was excellent here. Did the sort of, I'm not coming down to see you. You're a dangerous man. You're the sort of man who lets his girlfriend get beaten up in front of him.
Yeah.
And that was so good.
I don't know if you're a ring with you. You're dangerous.
When it's Jericho's facilitating all of that. And then he sends out the goons. JS come out. Who we got on the baby faces. Chugga, Orange Cassidy and Bandido, they paired up earlier. That was fun. Even though, Cassidy and Cole did look at each other because they did have quite a long blood feud.
It was Cole's first feud when he came into the company, and they were playing that up on commentary, being they think of the history that they've had. And they did sort of set it up earlier in the evening, because when Cassidy finished his match with Bandido, they sort of formed this friendship over a mutual love of sunglasses. And then during Adam Cole's interview with Renee, he left the frame and Orange Cassidy walked in with Bandido, and he was like, what was that about? And Renee sort of explained it, and he was like, okay, cool, whatever. And he walked away. So the seeds were being planted, and that's why they came down to make the save.
I thought it worked. Even though it is all over the place, I think it worked.
Yeah.
But the commentary are still going, but it's 3 versus 4. The numbers game. The numbers. I'm like, who's coming out here? This is building to something.
Kyle O'Reilly was the guy I thought of. That was the name I had in my head. I was like, oh, this is where Kyle comes back.
And then, I think, didn't it look like SRS on the...
You mean this? Yeah. I mean...
I see RS.
Well, it's because the S is massive through the R, but it does look like it says SRS.
Imagine if it was Sean.
If Sean came out and hit that Impaler DDT again. But we were then theorizing enough as what does the SRS stand for? And we thought it stood for kind of like Sideshow Bob's tattoo. Strong Roderick. Strong.
Strong. Really strong. But yeah, it's Roderick Strong. He came out, I popped, the crowd popped, he came in, cleared house, backbreakers. Love a backbreaker.
The messiah of the backbreaker.
And then it's just Cole and Roddy left in the ring, and they look at each other because the last time they were together in NXT, Undisputed Era broke up. Did Roddy side with Cole a bit longer than... Or did they turn on him first? I can't remember. But they were not on good speaking terms in kayfabe last time they met. And then they embraced, and the whole crowd popped. I popped. Great way to bring in Roddy. Very well done.
It was very, very well done. I like how you said that you thought this was perfectly done because it's exactly the way they had Jeff Hardy return not 2 weeks ago.
But I don't have any moral complications with Roddy.
Which is that their heels are beating down the baby faces with a numbers advantage. Someone runs down to make the save, but the numbers advantage is still there. And then the returning, or in this case, debuting star comes down to even up the odds and clear house.
Yeah. Sound idea. One involves the firm. Plus Jeff Hardy, who I'm not on board with coming back.
Yeah, whereas this one was Roderick Strong.
This was JAS, Bandido and Cassidy, like those guys, and Roddy Strong.
Yeah, and then the question I say that becomes is, where's the lie?
Where is the Bobby Fish?
So I think this is a bit of quite a funny thing, really, because Adam Cole is all elite, Kyle O'Reilly is all elite, and Roderick Strong got the graphic. He is now officially all elite. You'd imagine that once Kyle is fit and healthy again and he's back on the roster, those three will be part of the trios division, which makes it a very spicy trios division.
Yeah. I hadn't thought about that.
And then everyone was like, I
forgot about the trios belts.
Yeah, well, they've been on TV for a while, have they? Good job that they won them so they could go off TV while the people who lost the belts can start the biggest program in the company. And everyone was like, Bobby Fish is stuck in Impact Wrestling. I think what a lot of people have forgotten, really, and this had to be pointed out to me as well, Bobby Fish has had 2 appearances with Impact. He was basically at 2 tapings, and that was it. He's not really with Impact Wrestling. So there's every chance. Where is the lie? AEW is where the lie is.
I don't think it would work because this is now an Undisputed Era babyface faction. Cole is very clearly a blue-eyed babyface. It still freaks me out. I still feel like he's going to turn on somebody, but it's okay.
Just wait for him to super kick Roddy in the face.
Exactly. I'm on board with it. I'm excited to see where it goes. Roddy, love. Kyle, everyone loves. Bobby is, he's got that sort of go away heat currently.
You reckon?
Yeah. Dax is nearly there. But Bobby really is.
Do you think it's a mustache thing?
Oh, I hadn't thought about that because I love Rick Boogs and I love Vince McMahon.
Well, actually, I don't know. Boogs has got some go away heat with me at the moment.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I mean, he's not really on TV much, but when he is on screen, I'm like, they're partnering him with Elias, and it's like, you've been dragged down. You've been kicking and screaming. Which one? I feel bad for Boogs.
Bad for Boogs.
But so I thought this was a very, very good segment. It pops huge for Roddy. As I said, I thought it was Kyle O'Reilly. But no, it was Bobby Fish, and they've announced for next week. It is going to be the JAS of Hager, Daddy Magic, Cool Hand Ange, and the other one versus Adam Cole, Bandido, Orange Cassidy, and Roderick Strong.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Hopefully Carl's okay. He's been gone for a while now.
It's over a year at this point, isn't it? Or nearly a year?
Was it before Cole or after Cole? Because he was getting a few good singles matches in there.
And he was part of the first Owen Hart tournament. Because he had that great match with Phoenix in it.
Yeah. We'll have to see. Hopefully he comes back in because that's where the money is here. I think you could do Roddy, Cole, O'Reilly without Fish, and it's still good.
They did it in the one Strong first turned heel and sort of sided with them. I feel like Bobby was away for a little bit.
Yeah, that's a good point. He always felt like he was injured. God, they have a lot of injuries, these guys.
These vanilla midgets, you're trying to say. These injury-prone midgets.
But yeah, it was really, really good stuff. Let's see what everyone's thoughts are in the Omega chats. Before we get into the Omega chats, though, thank you, Paul. Moddy Paul it's his last day with us today.
Yeah,
he's going out into the big wide world,
getting an actual job. But please give him our flowers in the chats there, because we cannot do this show without our wonderful moderating team. And yeah, it's sad to lose one. But Paul's has had a great service here on the WrestleTalk Podcast. These shows do not function without them. I cannot stress that enough. We just fall apart. If Paul wasn't here, the builders would have just walked in.
Oh yeah,
and would have just run roughshod on here and was turning the aircon on, probably started drilling on the desk or something. But because of the blue wrench order, they run scared.
Saluting you, Paul. Shock the system. Shock the debut system is the opening section here. Benjamin Taylor says, I will remain optimistic, but AEW just debuted Jay White and he wasn't on Dynamite tonight. Anyway, keep up the amazing work, lads.
Jay White was on this show. He had a promo segment. There was a news article. I think it's Sean has got something coming up about this later on. It's like Sean, it might be Wade Keller or something, that apparently AEW are aware that they often have people come in with a lot of momentum and then disappear off TV for months.
It's an issue.
The examples that have been given in sort of the image and stuff is Swerve Strickland and House of Black. And apparently it's an issue they're aware of, and they're currently working internally to try and fix this issue.
Okay, good. It's good that they're trying to fix it. I would also say Bandido. I said this on the news, and a lot of people were like, yeah, but visa issues. I'm like, get those sorted before he debuts then. Like, you know he's going to have faith in the guy. You know he's going to get over in a match against Bryan Danielson, and had already wrestled Jericho a couple of months beforehand. But yeah, I share your concerns about Jay White. I think they've not dropped the ball on him, obviously, but it's just Where's the momentum?
Where's the momentum?
I'm just Marcus says, Roderick Strong coming in. Honestly, even when Luke said it on 3 count, I was like, nah, he's still WWE. But I am happy to be wrong. This should be really fun. Also, the BCC versus Elite feud is getting intense love, what they're doing. But where's the Hangman?
The Hangman got hurt.
Where's the Hangman?
He got hurt, didn't he, though? They injured him. Yeah.
Well, Danielson has a line on commentary in the main event where he's like, look, if you hang out with the Elite, Nakazawa, Cutler, like, you don't train, you don't win any championships. And I was thinking, freaking Hangman.
Well, you gotta find that's the one flaw in the argument. But really, did he train with the Elite? Yes, he did. I'll be honest, if you watch back that clip that we played earlier of when I said Roderick Strong and I said Undisputed Elite Reunion, but I didn't sound confident in it. I was like, Undisputed Elite Reunion? Because I didn't know. And I thought it might happen in a few months' time. I thought, well, here's what will happen. There'll be news that he's asked for his release. It will be denied. Then there'll be news of when his contract is up. Then his contract will run up, and then we'll wait 30 days, and then we'll see him. As opposed to, no, he showed up in the end of April.
And Kevin for now. However, I agree with Ollie. I hated the finish of Taya versus Jade. I was ready to see either a title change or a big win for Jade, but it was just dumb. The show was fine otherwise. Hope O'Reilly can return soon to have a full UE reunion. # where's the lie?
Where's the lie? I should have had that clip queued up. Really.
Yeah. Just before we get on with the full play-by-play review, of course, send in your Omega chats to WrestleTalk.com/support. But the best way to support today's episode, hit the graphic, monkeys in the production truck. It's to go buy our brand new book, our first ever book. Well, there was the anthology series that we did as well. But our first ever book like this, WWE versus AEW, The New War. It's available on Amazon, on Kindle for £6.99. But for a special early bird special, you can get it for £4.99 right now. Click in the link, or you can get it for £14.99 by going and getting the paperback version. My paperback version is on its way.
Are we getting some sent to the
office? I'm going to
office?
sign it for myself.
Are we getting some sent to the office?
Yes, well, everyone's going to get one.
Hey, I mean, maybe we'll have a few copies available when we do the Night of Champions party.
Well, we will, every available space is going to have a book on.
At the Night of Champions party?
Wherever I go. In the office, cafes, restaurants.
When you go to the dentist,
Cineworld.
You just put it onto the big pile of magazines there.
Yeah.
You're just like Women's Health, Gardening Monthly, AEW versus WWE.
But it's really good. It's a collection of the best articles, the choicest cuts of WrestleTalk magazine between 2021 and 2022 about the WWE AEW war. Very deep thought pieces, analysis. going into this whole, well, it's the biggest wrestling story of our age, and it ties into the Vince McMahon and the Triple H and all the succession parts of WWE too. And I wrote the foreword. Don't let that put you off.
Or make you buy another copy.
What, buy another copy because I wrote the foreword?
Well, yeah, because I'd imagine that a few of those pages are going to get stuck together once you've read the foreword, so you're going to have to get a second copy, aren't you, to be able to read it again.
Yeah. Right, this episode of Dynamite began with Orange Cassidy taking on Bandido. Really fun match. It was the 20th straight title defense of the All-Atlantic belt. That's not called that anymore.
It's the International Championship.
It's the International Championship. And perfect. That Cassidy's style goes with everyone.
Yeah. So spoilers for the upcoming WrestleTalk magazine. He's my wrestler of the month because he's just, anytime he's announced for a show, I'm like, oh, that'll be a great match. Regardless of who it's against, I'm like, oh, that'll be a great match. I'll be really entertained watching that match because he's awesome. He's so great. And he really has made this championship, this title, feel like the second biggest belt in the company. So, definitely. Fun fact for you. The TNT Championship has changed hands 6 times since Orange Cassidy has won the the International Championship. Although he did win the All-Atlantic Championship, I guess. So yeah, it's changed belts 6 hands. That title is just, hot potatoed around. Doesn't really feel like anything at the moment, particularly because it just feels like Wardlow's belt that he loses to a big guy, then wins it back off that big guy.
So it's that Wardlow is the Charlotte Flair of
a little
AEW.
Bit. But Cassidy just coming out here and just having great matches. And they also are telling a very good story with each of these defenses of how much longer can he go like this, because no one else in this company is doing what he's doing.
They're really good matches that not just get over Cassidy, but also get over his opponent in defeat, because Bandido looked great here. Orange Cassidy had his comedy spots, which I thought were really well worked, particularly at the end, and he was doing the little low effort chops, which he doesn't usually do. It's usually a kick.
I particularly enjoyed when Bandido had his finger guns out. So Orange Cassidy grabbed the finger guns and put them in his trousers.
HR nightmare.
They were like,
can't do that.
And they said, oh, just put them in his holsters.
Yeah, it's good. But then Bandido, one arm suplex outside the ring, inside the ring, lifted Orange Cassidy up with one arm. The guy's incredible.
Very, very strong.
But in the end, he kicked out of the
mousetrap.
The mousetrap pin, which very few people kick out of.
It was great as well. They'd been setting that up on commentary all match, talking about how Orange Cassidy had learned that from a wrestler, and that wrestler had also been working with Bandido. So Bandido has been working out ways to escape the mousetrap. And it was so weird. Like, they kept saying that, mentioned it a handful of times on commentary. And yet when he kicked out the mousetrap, I was like, oh, I can't believe he kicked out the mousetrap. They were telegraphing he was going to do that.
Really good. But Orange won shortly after with the beach break. And Cassidy got Bandido, held up his arm. Well, he didn't hold up his arm, but he sort of just put some shades on Bandido. And I just thought, are we getting a too cool dance here? And then they walked off together. They were celebrating. And that's afterwards. We get the Adam Cole backstage interview with Renee, which is intense because he's angry that Jericho beat up his girlfriend. And we get Cassidy and Bandido walk in after that match and just like, oh. And Bandido also goes, oh. And I was like, how is this working? Something about this clicks.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Really good. What didn't have so much charisma after that was Renee talking to both Darby Allin and Jungle Boy. Jungle Boy agreed to be in Darby's corner, or at least
have his back.
It's
what he said. So Darby was like, if I'd have known what was going to happen with MJF and Sammy last week, I wouldn't have been up in the rafters. I'd have been down at ringside to make sure that didn't happen. Yeah. So it'd be cool if you could have my back for this. And Jungle Boy was like, well, yeah, I suppose I could do that. You're right.
And Darby's then like, but if we were to wrestle, I'll beat you.
And Jungle Boy replied, yeah, well, should that do happen, I'll beat you.
Yeah, so it didn't have that much fun. You compare it against the heels, and Max and Sammy are having so much fun together.
Well, also as well, I think because because Renee had some mic issues in the opening segment where she was talking and then it sounded like she was down here and then she was back up here. I thought that the mic had broken again during this. Maybe I'm just not hearing what they're saying.
Jeff Jarrett versus Dax Harwood.
Finally. Oh, where's Jeff Jarrett been? Everyone, where's Jay White? Oh, where's Jeff Hardy? Where's Jeff Jarrett? That's the actual question here.
I love whenever Jeff Jarrett comes out, or Jay Lethal, there are about 20 referees stopping the rest of Team TNA coming out with them.
And every time Jeff is like, oh no, what? Again? No, come on.
He is on a mission at the moment.
He's great.
He's so impressive, like, because he feels older. Well, he's 55, but Jericho's 52, 53. So I'm just amazed at how, in what great condition he looks, how he's wrestling. Yeah.
And when they had announced ahead of time, Dax Harwood versus Jeff Jarrett, I was like, yeah, sure, Orange Cassidy Bandido. Yeah, sure, Omega and Takeshita teaming up against Butcher and Blade. Yeah, sure, Taya and Jade. Yeah, sure, we'll hear from Adam Cole. This is the thing I was most looking forward to on the show. Hey, I mean, because I get to go on here and just, do the Jeff Jarrett cough and everything. But I was just really excited to see a Dax Harwood singles match. We felt like we haven't had one of those for a while.
Well, I would say Dax, and this is not a slight at Jeff, because I think Jeff is great. Dax wrestled 80% of this match.
That's what Jeff wants you to think. That's the brilliance of Jeff Jarrett.
He was throwing himself around. He was taking these big bumps. What happened to no flips? He did a couple of little flippy flip bumps.
The other thing I really like about a Jeff Jarrett match in AEW is that everyone is very aware of the Jeff Jarrett as TNA promoted Jeff Jarrett. So, because Tony Schiavone worked with him in WCW, he's like, he's not a nice guy. No one likes Jeff Jarrett. And Excalibur's like, yeah, God, Jeff Jarrett's the worst. And he at one point said, Jeff Jarrett is a man who's been stabbing people in his back his whole career. And Taz just says, well, I've seen no evidence of that. What are you talking about? I was like, I had a great time working with Jeff.
But the match is pretty good. Pretty good match.
Yeah.
And Sonjay grabs Dax's leg. Dax then runs round, chasing him, gets in. Stroke. Jarrett gets the win.
Dax, one of the few people in the world who can make the stroke look good.
Yeah.
Because Jeff can only do so much. Sometimes you can't. I've got my flawless.
No one's 100% in everything.
I've got my flawless move, but everyone takes it badly, is, the argument. I thought this was a good match that had basically zero heat.
Yeah, it didn't have loads of heat, and it was a good crowd as well. They're in Florida, but they weren't sort of loud for this bit. Maybe it's that Jungle Boy Darby. Not Jeff's fault.
Can't ever be Jeff's fault.
Afterwards, Jeff took the tag team title and posed with it.
Celebrated like he just won it. Oh, he's great. Ain't he great? Choke on that, slap nuts.
So that's where I guess we're going. Well, a little filler feud, FTR versus Team TNA.
It's where every babyface tag team goes after they've won the tag titles. Straight into that Team TNA feud.
Oh, the Bucks are busy. So we're just going to put you against Team TNA.
I mean, it could be the Acclaimed, but I think they're feuding with JAS, so...
And I don't want to beat them. Team TNA.
Jeff Jarrett walks in, hold his guitar. It's my world, buddy.
Are you seeing I think someone chatted in a while ago, but I've seen these calls come up again with the announcement of the Owen Hart Cup tournament. Do you think Jeff should win because of his very close friendship with Owen?
I certainly think he should be part. The problem is that he has to be a babyface in the tournament because of the relationship with Owen. But I mean, him presenting the trophy with Martha.
I think you could tell an actual wonderful story. It's such a shame that he's a heel because it doesn't work otherwise.
No.
And how do you turn Jeff babyface?
Oh, that's easy. What are you talking about? That's the least of our problems.
Book it for me.
Comes out, he just does everything Jeff Jarrett normally does. And all of a sudden the crowd are like, hey, Jeff's here.
What, so Sanjay's still grabbing people's legs? He's still with Team TNA?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that's getting him over. We'll actually get him more of more TNA. Find a way for Jeremy Borash to get out of his WWE contract, make him part of the act.
Where's Joe?
Samoa Joe. Get everyone some clamshell necklaces so we can all feel like it's 2005.
Kurt Angle's not doing anything at the moment.
Daniels. Kazarian.
This feeds us quite nicely into Tony's latest huge announcement. I can't remember what it was billed as. Was it just Tony speaks?
We will hear from Tony Khan. This was not a Tony Khan makes a huge announcement.
I don't need the announcements of the announcement.
Yeah. I mean, I agree.
Yeah. So the announcement was, and this was a pre-recorded thing.
He's learning.
Yeah.
Like an AI machine. Tony Khan is always learning.
Which I actually really get a kick out of the unblinking yelling.
Reading the auto cue, which those eyes dart back and forth.
He's way too close. I feel like he's getting closer as he's doing it.
Well, they asked him, is this a good speed for you? And he's like, yeah, okay, that looks fine. Then his press played, realised it's actually too fast, but you can't say stop and let's do it again because we're live, pal.
What Luke's doing here is some great observational comedy about teleprompter usage, which only really applies to us and anyone else who uses a teleprompter. But yeah, it's what they did here. They showed clips of last year's tournament. They had a bit of footage of Owen in
New Japan.
Was it in New Japan specifically? Because the announcement was Owen Hart Cup's coming back. It's the opening ceremony, or I don't know if the opening matches, take place at Double or Nothing. More matches in Canada, including Forbidden Door, because that's where that's taking place, appropriate because of Owen's time in Japan, and then concludes in Calgary, which is his hometown.
On July 15th, which is a Saturday. So there'll be a Collision episode.
Oh. I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't either until a lot of people pointed out. Some people looked at a calendar to see when that date was. But yeah, it's a Saturday, so that'll be a Collision taping.
That is, I mean, that's great. Like, what a great way of doing the Owen Hart Cup tournament. My only trepidation is that last year's was a bit limp overall.
It was a nice moment for Cole and Baker to win as sort of like Mr. and Mrs. AEW, but it kind of amounted to nothing. Partly because Cole got injured shortly thereafter, and Baker didn't do much either, I guess.
But I don't feel like it. Like, where was the plan to do something after? Cole was a heel. That was a very babyface. Britt was a heel,
which is why I thought it was weird for them to win it.
Yeah, the matches were good, but some of the matches were very good, and the whole Martha thing was wonderful, but it was just like it doesn't have to have stakes as in, well, you get this title shot, but because it felt flippant.
I think there should be some stakes to it as opposed to you just get a pink belt. I think there should be something else to it. I mean, even if it is just you get a title shot at a next special AEW show or something along those lines. Maybe it doesn't have to be a pay-per-view or what have you. But I do think it needs some form of stakes. But maybe, again, always learning. Maybe this one will have something better to it.
Well,
it could equally be as nothing as the first one was.
They've already improved it by having like this Canadian heritage part. So
the other thing, I was slightly worried about Collision as well. I mean, it's a name that makes me think of Faith No More because they've got a song called Collision, so that song just plays in my head. So that's great from that. I hope they have that as the theme song. But by the by, I was a bit concerned about Collision because this idea of this whole soft reset and soft brand split that's going to be done to kind of facilitate the CM Punk return. But apparently, Punk's going to be on Dynamite as well.
Okay.
So it's not a brand split of you are only on Collision or you are only on Dynamite. It is that all of the AEW roster are across both Dynamite and Collision. It's just that you, kind of like with Cody, you just didn't get involved in any Elite storylines and just had his little Cody verse. There'll just be a little Punk verse.
Well, I'm all for that. That's how it was anyway. Like, Punk didn't interact with any of those guys before. I loved it.
Yeah.
Darby match, MJF match.
So I think my thinking is more, I don't think we're going to notice it as this whole like idea of a soft brand split makes it sound like oh man, it's going to be so noticeable, particularly because they're going to be on different shows. But by all accounts, everyone is going to be on every show. So you probably won't even notice it's happening.
Well, I hope so. After that, we got Wardlow. I didn't even get this chap's name that he squashed.
They did not say it.
Arn Anderson beat him with 4 powerbombs. Arn Anderson cut a promo afterwards, dressed as a member of the Royal Tenenbaums.
I wrote that he was dressed like a member of Slipknot.
Which one?
Well, he's
in a bright red Adidas tracksuit.
Well, because they used to have red jumpsuits. And then I was like, no, this is more Korn. This is more like for the leader era Korn.
He said if Wardlow wants to be AEW's dynasty to carry this company into the next millennium, he's got to pull a man's eye out. He's got to bite someone's finger off.
Oh.
Jesus. And then out came Christian and Luchasaurus, and it looked like Christian was going to get in the ring and have some words back and forth. He thought about it. He got up the steps, and he was like, no. And they walked off. So still teasing this.
Yeah, I actually thought it was kind of a nice little signaling for Christian to come out as well, because you're right, like Arn was like, you've got to gouge someone's eye out, or you've got to take a bite out of someone, or you've got to smash someone's head in with a chair. And that's what brought Christian.
Yes.
It's almost like a bat signal for him.
Yeah, I mean, I like this booking. I think I can see where we're going. It's keeping Luchasaurus relevant.
It's a bit over. Like, I think even with Wardlow felt over here, but nowhere near as special as he did this time last year. So I thought this was, I'm past the Wardlow experiment.
Yeah, I think if you take Wardlow out of it, this is all good, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's mainly that bit because we've been here, done that.
And as a 3-time TNT champion, there's only so many times you can win that belt and have it feel like a big deal. Like even Excalibur introduced him as a 2-time champion and then had to be corrected. It was like, 3? Is it really 3? Oh, okay.
Did you hear my joke on the news?
I did not.
Well, I said Arn Anderson's a very scary man, but thankfully the red tracksuit took the edge off. Speaking of people who have had the edge taken off, here's Christian.
Oh, that is good.
Thank you. Renee is backstage with Sammy and MJF, and they are just so fun together, yucking it up as heels. Sammy's like, I've got you a vest. And MJF's like, I've got you a matching scarf. Hey, friends hug.
It's very good.
Kevin Owens, Jericho level of friends.
That's going to end next week.
I know, it's such a shame, isn't it? Do you think it'll be like that Hollywood Rock period, which is only 2 months? Remember when MJF and Sammy were together?
Yeah. But I have a feeling. We'll get into it in a second, but this is coming to an end as of next week.
Which is a shame. RJ City's running down the rest of the show. I like RJ City. I was excited to see him, so they got the right kind of heat when Mox beat the crap out of him.
Yeah, and so we've got some scars to leave later tonight.
We had Darby Allin versus Sammy Guevara, top of the second hour, which was the match that Sammy won last week to get into this match. Winner of this match faces Max at the pay-per-view for the title. And it was a really good match, I thought. Darby and Sammy kept things mostly in the ring, which is different for them. And they chose their big spots. I felt like this was a very restrained, mature match for them. The standout spots were this excellent cutter from the Darby bullet dive, and Sammy just timed it perfectly into a cutter.
And as he hit that cutter, found himself in a tranquilo pose where he was just laying down. I was like, oh, look how cool I look.
Brilliant. And the 630 senton off the top rope through the table outside.
Which I believe is a callback to the match that they had on pay-per-view.
Right.
Very, very cool.
Really good match. And MJF is on commentary, also being excellent.
Yeah.
I just thought it was so funny.
With his jar of pickles.
Yeah, kosher pickles.
Yeah, because he's got his own brand of kosher pickles now. And I particularly, because Taz is basically the heel commentator, he's backing up Jeff Jarrett. And they're both like New York guys as well, like say Long Island, New York. Yeah, it's New York. And he hands him the jar of pickles. He's like, oh, I love pickles. This is great. So Taz has got this holding up this pickle and he's like, oh, Taz is having a great time. But I digress.
Yeah. I actually wrote, here's a bit of notes off that bullet dive. I was like, this is really good. Like, they're doing such a good match, these two, without doing anything insanely crazy. And then as I wrote that, Sammy got a table out. I thought, well, I can't have everything.
Yeah. And they gave us an F finish in the end here because MJF headed down to the ring. Ty Mello distracted the referee. MJF got up onto the ring apron with Darby's skateboard. Threw the skateboard to Darby. Sammy took a bump, did the Eddie Guerrero spot. The referee turns around, sees Darby holding the skateboard, DQs him. So Sammy Guevara wins. And the match graphic comes up. Sammy versus MJF, main event of Double or Nothing. They yucked it up as heels. But Tony Schiavone's there being like, I'm getting word from Tony Khan.
Oh, before that, they started to beat up Sam.
But he was doing that like during the
commentary.
I think he jumped the gun in saying, I'm getting word from Tony Khan. Because Excalibur was like, well, we'll hear about that in a second first.
Yeah, because the heels start to beat up Darby. And only then does Jungle Boy decide to have Darby's back. despite a low blow, Tay Mello interfering, and then the MJF interference that caused the loss.
There was someone who described Jungle Boy on Twitter as a black hole of charisma. And I felt really bad about it. I was like, there's a bit, though.
Yeah. It's a shame because we all like him.
Yeah. He's got great hair.
Yeah. But yeah, Jungle Boy was out there and Darby and Jungle Boy were like looking tensely. Darby's like, why didn't you come and help me? Which is a very fair question.
Excellent question.
And Jungle Boy's like, blah, 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 blah. I don't know what his argument was there.
Me and you against them.
And that's when Tony Schiavone stood up and he said, hey, Max, you prick. Which I love Tony's delivery. Of
Tony hates MJF so much, but announces that Tony Khan has decided there's going to be a tag team match player next week. It'll be Sammy and MJF versus Darby and Jungle Boy. And if Darby and Jungle Boy can win, then it will be a fatal four-way at the pay-per-view. This had actually been sort of predicted by on our Raw podcast. I believe it was Kyle Jeffries, one of our watchers, sent an ultra saying like, I wonder if they'll do a DQ finish and then I'll announce a tag match for next week where the winners get a title shot. But he then went one step further and was like, and then Wardlow will cost MJF the match and that's how we get to the fatal four-way. But he was more or less there. I mean, Wardlow may do something next week. I don't think so. But it's, we were asking the question, how do you get this to the fatal four-way? This is a way to do it.
Yeah, it's not the best way?
It's not what I would have done.
Yeah.
But it was one way to do this.
Yeah, I didn't really love I love the matches and I love the people, but the twists and turns I really didn't think worked that well.
Yeah.
We've got to the same destination, which is where we want to go. And yeah, but the main thing is Max and Sammy are so much fun. I'm fine to move past my criticisms.
And they storm through the back. Renee tries to interview them, but they walk off. MJF and Sammy, that is. And they arrive at MJF's car. And Sammy's going to get into the car with MJF. And MJF's like, no, sorry, it's full. And the camera goes in to show you that it's empty. And then MJF gets off and drives away. And Sammy, knowing that it was empty, gave a look of, oh, it's so going to be a fatal four-way at the pay-per-view because I'm going to turn on you next week.
Yeah. Which is sad.
Also, do you want to pin MJF before getting into the pay-per-view?
Well, you can pin Sammy.
Well, that's the idea. But if Sammy is going to be the one to turn on MJF to cost them the match.
Look, if you pin MJF in that match, I don't think that's the worst thing in the world.
Yeah. It's not what I would do.
No, you don't want to pin your champion, but at the same time, there's three of them. They're three weaker draws. Well, they're not really draws. That's not me shooting or anything. I think they're great, but compare it to Danielson, Omega. They're not at that level. The point of this match is to get them to that level. They're not there now. So I think if one of them gets a win, a pin on MJF, who would you give it to? If Darby or
it would be Jungle Boy.
It should be Jungle Boy.
I feel like Jungle Boy is the person they are. Once this fatal four-way is done, that is going to spin off into an MJF Jungle Boy feud. I feel like that is.
Really?
Well, it was a few weeks ago. It felt like he was the focal point of this story. So I get it's the impression that I get, as the Mighty Boss Tones once said, that Tony is like, Jungle Boy's my guy, and I'm going to put the stocks in him.
I feel like Max will retain, and then he'll be on to the next program. Not include any of these guys.
We'll see.
It's already been a 2 and a bit month build. I don't think you want to make it any longer.
That depends on who you go to after that, because you can't have Cole. He's stuck in a Jericho vortex. He's not going to be available until October.
Well, you got Forbidden Door coming up.
Oh, yeah, I suppose it was Forbidden Door.
Ospreay comes out, anyway. We had the Adam Cole segment that we've already covered after that. QTV is happening, and Powerhouse Hobbs burst in, pinned QT up against the wall, and was like, oi.
Yeah.
Stop mucking about, get me my title back.
I want my title shot.
And QT said, I've got a plan B.
We're going to plan B, everyone.
Don't know if I want a QT to come back into this, but at least Hobbs. Luchasaurus, Wardlow.
Yeah, but I've seen Hobbs be involved in triple threats with Wardlow for the TNT Championship last November.
You enjoyed it?
I did enjoy it. That's because I had Samoa Joe down to how I won the championship. It was because of Samoa Joe and Jamie Hayter that I won the title.
We got Jade Cargill versus Taya Valkyrie next. I enjoyed this match. I thought it was a pretty good match. It was a really good big time presentation of Jade. Thought Jade looked great. You know, not perfect. She's still a bit green in places because she doesn't do any proper matches. But for where she's at, I thought she was really good. She hit a Canadian Destroyer.
Out of nowhere as well.
Didn't look great.
Hey, I have seen way worse Canadian Destroyers.
Yeah. But the effort was there, and I really like Valkyrie. I think she's got a real good presence about her. The story of the match was that Taya couldn't use her finisher. If she did, she would lose automatically because it's the exact same finisher as Jade's. And Jade has it copyrighted in AEW, blah, 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 Mark Sterling. So muscle memory, she just goes to hit the Jaded, it's the Road to Valhalla. And she goes, oh, no, wait, shouldn't do that.
Aubrey reminds her of the rules.
And she goes, wait, shouldn't do that. I don't mind her going for it. I think, yeah, you're in the heat of the moment. She pulls back and she stands there. And that's enough time for Jade to roll her up.
Yeah.
And she retains.
Yeah, it's not the greatest finish I've ever seen.
Good idea for the finish. It's just a timing thing.
Yeah. I think they gave Taya a bit of heat back afterwards because she then went to hit the Road to Valhalla on Aubrey, but the referees stopped her. And
they were in there so fast.
Well, got to protect Aubrey. She's the star of the referee division.
How did you feel emotionally about Aubrey being put in harm's way?
I wanted to jump into the ring. I wanted to be one of those referees.
No! Take me instead!
Taya, put her down!
I didn't know if I was... Because it was badass.
Yes. And it never felt like she was doing it because she is a baddie. It was more just like a frustration thing. I almost like she instantly went to blame Aubrey because Aubrey reminded her of the rules. But the second the referee stopped her, she sort of went to the corner and realized, no, it wasn't Aubrey's fault. It was my fault.
I thought
it was a heat of the moment thing.
I liked all of this bar the second before the finish. And unfortunately, that's all I can think about. We got a video promo for the Rampage match. That's where we saw Jay White with Juice Robinson. They're going to have a tag match against Shawn Spears and Ricky Starks. And then Excalibur somehow read every single match for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, in about 15 seconds.
And he didn't even have to do it because they thought they were going to break. I think Tony goes, on air, my God. Well done, buddy.
Get
like
that man some water.
Because we're going to break. And then Danielson's music hit to join them on commentary. And I think Excalibur was like, oh, I could have done it a bit longer. Oh, no.
But they didn't have long left either because that set up the match for Kenny Omega and Kensuke Takeshita versus Butcher and Blade. And it was like, after entrance, about 11 minutes left of the show. But this was a fast-paced match. Main event Butcher and Blade, who got to do a lot of their things in there, but this was a lot about Omega and Takeshita working together while Danielson was doing this awesome bit of commentary. To the he's actually disappointed in Takeshita after all I did for him, and we trained together. He could have been a great part of Blackpool Combat Club. But no, instead he's decided to go with the Elite. What does the Elite get you? You know, I may try and ask Michael Nakazawa or Brandon Cutler that. Have they ever been champions? No, they haven't. Wheeler Yuta, 2-time ROH Pure Champion. We breed champions. You are better off with the Blackpool Combat Club than you are with the Elite, who are amateurs.
Danielson's storytelling skills are, of course, very well documented in the ring and on promos. But on commentary, I feel like I'm doing the CM Punk pipe bomb promo. No one can touch him. He was masterful at getting all this across. I feel like I understand this feud on such a deeper layer than I did before. And that's not something you typically get from a wrestler on commentary. They're there to do a bit of comedy like C-Max earlier. Effective and fun, sure, but this is like a vital part of the whole overarching narrative.
And he was also getting them over as well because he wasn't there being like, you are bad if you are part of the Elite, because anything that Omega did was like, that is impressive. It's like he's got the best dragon suplex in all of wrestling, but he's not focusing on this. And like with Takeshita, he was like, see what Takeshita did? That was awesome. But if you notice, he's now not following this up and he's not focusing on the right things. It was really, really great in making sure that he was using his time to promote the other two people because he's in a feud with them.
Yeah. Unfortunately, then did screw up his one live line in front of the crowd and they all jumped on him.
I really thought that Danielson was going to play to that.
Yeah.
But instead just carried on like it never happened.
I think he would have if he had more time. I think he was very conscious.
Yeah.
We've got 90 seconds to go through 3 different turns here.
Yeah, so what happened was Omega and Takeshita won, beat Butcher and Blade.
Takeshita got the pin.
Yeah, Takeshita got the pin. Very fun match. And then afterwards, Danielson cut this promo where he did bollocks up his lines somewhat. He said, you should be training with the elite. You should be training with Blackpool Combat Club.
The whole crowd were like,
It's like a British crowd.
It was like being at a school assembly and someone had just mucked something up.
It was the equivalent of a barman has dropped a pint glass. And he is, "Way!"
Very fun.
So he kind of recovered from that to basically say, like, you got a choice to make. And through the kerfuffle with Blackpool Combat Club, got into the ring, and they everyone brawled, and Kenny had the chance with the screwdriver to take out Jon Moxley. And Takeshita got in the ring because Danielson told him to, you should stop this. So Takeshita got in the ring and stopped Omega from doing this. And in the process of it, thought maybe that's not the right thing to do. Moxley fights off the Bucks, pushes Takeshita into Omega. That makes Omega out of the ring. And then Danielson gets in with this grin on his face, raising Takeshita's hands. But then they also turn on him and attack him with the screwdriver. Big old screwdriver spot, busted him open, pissing blood out of his forehead.
It was like comical spurts.
And they left him laying while the elite were picking up the pieces. So, there's 2 schools of thought here. Is this the Blackpool Combat Club turning on Takeshita, or is it you have to bleed with the Combat Club before you can join us? And it's actually just an initiation thing, or that's how they see it.
Yeah. I enjoyed this. I enjoyed the back and forth. I would have just stopped this about 45 seconds earlier, 1 beat earlier. So we're just left with Takeshita stopping Kenny, taking out Mox, and then the Blackpool Combat Club jump the elite. And then you're like, wait, where is Takeshita going in this?
Yeah, where are his allegiances?
And
whose side is he on?
I thought that would be more fun. You play that up for maybe 1-2 weeks, and then the Blackpool Combat Club turn on Takeshita if you're going down that route. Because I just thought they crammed a lot in here of turns back and forth.
And it felt like there was not a lot of time. And then remarkably still had a lot of time left over. Because they then had like 30 seconds where it was like, we need to fill for time. The commentary just sort of stopped because it felt like the show was going off the air. It was quite remarkable in a way. But I thought this was, overall, I enjoyed this as an episode of Dynamite. So, like, my wife came downstairs and she was like, how was the show today? And I was like, yeah, no, it was a really good show. And that's mainly because I was thinking of, I really enjoyed Cassidy and Bandido. I love this Blackpool Combat Club Elite storyline. And the Roddy debut. And I was like, yeah, it was a really good show. But actually, if you kind of like take a step back and look at it as a whole, it's 5 stars because Jeff Jarrett was on the show. That's the one key thing we're all missing here. Really, this was a 3 out of 5 episode.
Yeah, I gave it 75%.
3 out of 5.
Which is closer to 4 out of 5 than anything. But in AEW standards, a 75% is really down the lower end of its quality. But not in the. I wouldn't say this is down the lower end because it was a bad show or it had anything fundamentally wrong with it. I just thought it was a fine show.
Yeah, this was a fine episode.
But a lot of fun. We've already done our Patreon shout-outs. So just a cool... hit the graphic to go and buy our brand new first ever book, WWE vs. AEW, The New War. It is £14.99 paperback version from Amazon using the link in the video description below. I'm sure the mods are going to be popping that link in the comments too. And £6.99 for the ebook version, unless you are an early bird. If you take advantage of the early bird offer, it's £4.99 for you.
The early bird goes cheap, and that's what you're getting this book for.
Did you just come up with that, or is that a saying?
No, I just came up with that.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, I just thought that. I was like, what did a bird say? Cheap.
That's really good.
Thanks, bud. I should be on The Apprentice. You're
Write that down. Write that down so you don't forget it.
I'll remember it. It's on tape.
Okay. But let's do our remaining Omega chats. Last call for those. WrestleTalk.com/support to have your thoughts read out on air. $5 or more. Kevin says, I remember in 2020 when Orange Cassidy faced Pac. We all said Orange Cassidy shouldn't wrestle often and should be a special attraction. Now I want him every week on my TV. If I don't get Brian wrestling, I'm totally fine with my weekly OC match.
I think in that time frame as well, it's because the Cassidy shtick could get old if you do it on TV every single week. But that's the genius of Orange Cassidy, is that he is more than just the Cassidy shtick.
Back then, he was only really doing the low effort kicks, hands in pockets, that's it. Now, ever since the Jericho feud, where that was like while it dragged on a bit, that was the origin story of New Cassidy, where a bit of him actually gives an F.
Yeah, I think he's great.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. Oh, Dante, they put their name in. Thank you so much. So Dante here says, hello, gentlemen. Have either of you noticed or heard anything about Danielson being injured? If you hadn't noticed yet, he hasn't taken a bump since he came back. He hasn't even been within 10 feet of a wrestling move. Thoughts?
No, I think it's just, well, yeah, he hasn't had matches, but he had loads of matches in the lead up to the MJF feud, which was part of the story for it.
And then an hour plus match.
Yeah, just taking a bit of time. Just
taking a load off.
Taking a load off.
George Hopkins, first time chat, in a good mood as I got my dream job as a drama teacher.
Very cool.
That's
I love
fantastic.
my drama teachers at school.
Well done, George. Get a well done, George chant going in the chat. I know everyone thinks that the BCC versus Elite will end in blood and guts, but there's a chance it will be Anarchy in the Arena, which I think I prefer. The last one was at Double or Nothing 2022.
The last one was the best of the ones that they did.
Yeah. I didn't love it as much as other people.
It was just for the Eddie Kingston moment where he came down looking to set Jericho on fire. There's this thing on Twitter at the moment. It was like, post your I'm him moments. That was Eddie Kingston's time where he was like, he's the coolest wrestler on the planet. Yeah. Put every single title on him because he's literally coming out of the ring to set someone on fire. He's pouring gasoline and Dan's going like, what are you doing?
Okay. It could be an Anarchy in the Arena match. That fits the brawling vibe of BCC.
I think it's probably what we'll get, yeah.
But also it's a lot more comedies. Sometimes it can lean on comedy spots.
Well, I felt that the last one didn't, which is why I think that you can toe that line with this one. And also, like, it doesn't mean that it just ends at Anarchy in the Arena at Double or Nothing. That could just be the first chapter to build to them doing the Blood and Guts match. Once you've got, the team of 5 on either side.
BM Whitehouse, hot tag to you, actually.
BM Whitehouse said,
sorry, I just cut. You're going to watch this back. I coughed into my hand and then I tagged it. I'm sorry about that.
You're very welcome. It's okay. I've said multiple times before where the loser has looked strong in defeat, but that Jade Gargill was the first time where I've said looked weak in victory. I think Jade would have benefited a lot by having by leaving AEW and going to Impact with Naomi and being used properly. I don't know if you could say going undefeated for like nearly 2 years is not being used properly. Like they are keeping her as a special attraction type deal, but working elsewhere is not going to harm her in any way.
Yeah, but she doesn't have to go to Impact to work with someone of who's not just a sort of enhancement talent status. They're there in AEW. They just don't let her interact with them.
Yeah. You also, we were talking about this earlier about Naomi debuting in Impact this coming weekend.
Didn't even make our news.
Abdul says, just sent an ultra chat to say Ollie's taking the edge off joke on Dynamite's review was hilarious.
That it was.
Bonesaw Bug, Roderick Strong. Well, better late than never, I say. Also, Jeff Jarrett should stay here and feud with whoever wins the Owen. How dare you represent my friend's memory? You're a disgrace to the Hart name story. Anyway, jam that jam.
I don't think Martha would like that. To use that as kind of a cheap heat feud thing. Fun idea, but I don't think they'd go that direction.
Charles Berg, poor Takeshita. The reward he gets for helping his pals is to be murdered by the most reasonable person in Ohio. Show was fine. Needed more Miro. Good luck on the book sales, boys. You probably could have guessed I don't read, for I have a dumb brain. I'm Just Marcus says, so does Arn Anderson just want to kill a guy at this point? Is that his gimmick? And if so, shouldn't he be managing the Blackpool Combat Club, not Wardlow?
No, he's already killed. He's already killed multiple times.
Yep, now he's got a taste for it. We have got an unknown username. Please do let our moderators know. It said, so if Night of Champions is supposedly every belt being defended in one night, hence the name, surely that means that Sammy and KO are losing the belts to the Usos on Friday, right? Oh, dear God. I would stay clear of Pete this weekend, lads. Well, Pete's reviewing SmackDown this weekend. However, that was the old gimmick of Night of Champions. We don't know if that's going to be the gimmick for this Night of Champions.
You've got the new belt. I think you could definitely, that sort of compensates for not having every single championship on the show. Roman's not going to be on the show.
On the Saudi show, yeah, he will.
Why? Do you think?
Yeah, I reckon so. I reckon it's almost a prerequisite that Roman has to be on one of the Saudi shows.
I am going to put a bet now that he's not on it because you can just do the, you impress that the Saudis buying the show with, we're crowning a new champion and you're in this one.
Yeah.
That's my opinion, but that's my prediction.
I actually also I don't know who Roman's going to face either.
Exactly.
Because it won't be Cody, because I think it'll be Cody and Rollins in whatever match it is for the new title. So yeah, I don't think it's a prerequisite that Sammy and KO are losing.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, I actually think that the jobs they did on Monday to highlight that Kevin Owens is going to turn actually just solidifies that they're going to retain. Danny G says, hi guys, off topic, but I just want to congratulate Luke and the team on Cutscene. As a man of a similar vintage who loves retro gaming, it's right up my alley even. Speaking of great content, Ollie, that edge taken off pun, chef's kiss.
Thank you very much.
It's getting over.
Go over to Cutscene as well. Cutscene's over. Subscribe there if you've not watched it.
It's linked to in the video description down below. Our latest episode on the unmade Metroid movie from the mid-2000s and tomorrow's video, the final video of this first season of Cutscene, is going to be on the unmade Sonic the Hedgehog movie from the mid-1990s.
Who was going to play Sonic?
Oh, well, they didn't get that far.
Okay.
But it was a script that was written in 1995 that did... I'll go into details as to why it didn't actually happen in the video tomorrow.
Love it.
Mr. Higglesbeat has been a member for 9 months in a row, says, Luke, GM tip. If you have contract negotiations and when they say my contract is up and you say I have an option to extend you, that uses the power card, love you all. I'll be honest, Mr. Higglesbeat, 1,000 people have told me that since it happened on my GM mode.
It was 19 months in a row as well, not 9.
Did I say 9?
I think you said 9.
Oh, I
just
do
to
apologize.
give Mr. Higglesby the correct
19
recognition.
months.
Let's acknowledge Higglesby.
Yes. No, a few people have pointed that out to me. I've never known it to be that way before because it's the first time I've ever encountered it. But I just thought I'd lie to Tommaso Ciampa. So Ciampa came up to me and was like, hey, my contract's up in a couple of weeks' time. And I got 4 options, one of which was like, oh, I've got another option. And Ciampa's like, oh, it's the first I've heard of it. I'll speak to you again in a few weeks' time. And I was like, if I just lied to him. And as it turns out, people's like, no, you played a power card. But I think I've still got the power cards. And I still think his contract is coming up. So I don't know. But enough people have said it. So I will trust them that I am wrong on this one. And we have some new members because Juan Perez has gifted a membership, as has Bubba, Bubba became a member and then gifted a membership.
Oh, look at the nice flow of good deeds to people.
Oh, would you look at this? We just had a little update here. WWE Hall of Famer Jerry Springer has passed away at the age of 79.
Pop culture icon.
Yeah. Changed the game somewhat in terms of shock TV and stuff.
Well, very pro wrestling TV, just done in a sort of reality exploitative way.
We've got the results from the poll. Thumbs down, 3%.
Wow.
Thumbs in the middle, 26%. Thumbs up, 69%.
Nice.
There you go. 69% of our viewers thought that this was a thumbs up episode of AEW Dynamite.
Well, thank you all for watching us today. Let's ham up that graphic one more time for the final plug for the book, our first book. You know the button. That's the button. The New War. WWE versus AEW. Go get your copy now from the link in the video description below over at Amazon. It's £14.99 for the paperback copy and £6.99 for the ebook. Unless you're an early bird, because what do early birds do, Luke?
They go chick. No, they go cheap. And that's what you'll get this book for.
I told you to write it down.
I'm so sorry.
£4.99. That's cheap, cheap, cheaper. Please do give it a click just to check it out, because not only is it a great book, we're already proud of it, it also really helps support us here. But for now, I've been Ollie Davis, that's been Luca, and DAD. Jam that jam.